Hey, welcome to day 4 of our shoulder pain challenge. In this video I'm going to dispel a big myth about shoulder rehab and also a really commonly used shoulder exercise, which is a sort of rotator cuff. Whether you're using a band like this, whether you're using a dumbbell in this position does not matter. I'm going to dispel a big myth about why those exercises sometimes are not the best exercises to use if you have shoulder pain, or to actually activate the shoulder rotator cuff muscles prior to exercise. If for any reason you've missed any of our previous videos in relation to our shoulder pain series, I would just flick back on social media if you're seeing this video there, or all our videos are also available on our YouTube channel. So please go to YouTube, search for Perform Ready Rehab, hit subscribe if you want to hear a bit more from us, and you can check out the previous videos. That said, in today's video I want to talk about this big myth. So in relation to the rotator cuff muscles, there are 4 small muscles that sit in and around your shoulder, and there's a big misconception about the role of the rotator cuff. So the rotator cuff muscles do contribute to these movements of external rotation, which is that, or internal rotation, which is moving towards the body. So whilst they are important to those movements, what a lot of people don't understand is when you're doing, say, internal rotation, I'm bringing my arm towards my body, I have some really big muscles around my shoulder. I have a pec muscle and I have a lat muscle. They're not necessarily that big on me, but in most people they are much bigger than these small rotator cuff muscles that sit actually in the shoulder joint. So when you do any sort of, say, internal rotation, that pec, that lat are big, strong muscles, and they're going to do the majority of the work. So what that means for your rotator cuff muscles, whilst they will be working in both movements here and movements there, the big muscles around your shoulder are going to do the majority of the work, which totally nullifies, in many respects, this type of exercise, because you can do as many of these as you want, but whilst you are going to get some activity of those rotator cuff muscles, it's going to be negated by the fact that these big muscles are going to kick in and do most of the work, which is good because your body just wants to work efficiently, and if these big strong muscles can do most of the work, that's the most effective way for your shoulder to work. So how do we get around that? So what a lot of people don't know is the main job of those rotator cuff muscles is actually to keep the ball in the centre of the socket. So what those muscles do, what those rotator cuff muscles do, is they stop it either going too far back, too far forwards, both ways, and just try and keep it in a central position in your shoulder. So this is really important to the mechanics of your shoulder, because if your shoulder, or if the ball in the socket is pulled in a particular direction too much, this can cause pain, it can cause catching, it can cause clicking, and all these types of different symptoms that we see commonly with patients and athletes that we work with. However, what we can do is we can train the rotator cuff muscles in a slightly different way to not only promote its main job, which is to keep that ball in the socket, but stop you wasting your time with exercises that are probably not going to do the job you think they are doing. So it's really simple to do this. One of the common exercises we use quite a lot with patients and athletes that we work with is any type of carry. So a kettlebell is a perfect way to do what we would call a sort of farmer's carry or a suitcase carry. So what you can do is just grabbing a dumbbell, grabbing a kettlebell. If you've not got access to a gym, even carrying like a rucksack full of some heavy books or something you can find to provide a little bit of weight. And what the weight's doing is, just by having the weight in my hand, the weight's trying to pull my shoulder. It's almost tractioning my arm downwards. And what that's actually going to do is actually pull the ball away from the socket. And don't worry, it's not going to cause you any damage or any problem to your shoulder. It's actually going to do a really good thing, which is actually give those rotator cuff muscles no option than to actually activate and contract. So just by holding a weight in your arm and walking up and down the room or the gym, is probably going to give you more activation of those rotator cuff muscles than exercises with bands and dumbbells and doing these types of things prior to exercise, or if you're using those type of exercises as part of a rehab type plan because you're struggling with shoulder pain. So I hope that makes sense. Just give a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the rotator cuff and what those muscles do. Try the carries out, grab some weights, try that out as an exercise. Any questions at all, don't hesitate to get in contact, just give us a shout and we'll do our best to help you out.